Welcome to day 46 on the trail. We have 5 readings for today from Acts chapter 1, verses 1 through 26, Exodus 18, verses 1 through 27, the 55th Psalm, Job 22, verses 1 through 30, and Sirach chapter 50, verses 1 through 29. As we conclude Sirach today, I wanted to mention that chapters 44 through 50 provide a summary of some of the key individuals in the history of Israel, including in the intertestamental period, that is, from the close of the Hebrew Bible to the beginning of the New Testament. For example, we find Simon, son of Onias, who was the high priest from 219 to 196 BC. Mentioning Simon helps us provide the date for the writing of Sirach. It is also interesting, as you review this list, which figures from the history of the Jewish people that the author chooses to highlight and include. Turning now to the continuing story of the Exodus. Since leaving Egypt, we have seen the people complain to Moses and God 3 times. Now in Exodus 18, we learn that they also had problems with each other. As disputes have arisen among the people, Moses has been acting as the sole judge for those disputes. After all, Moses is the one who speaks for God, and therefore the people naturally come to him as a source of authority to have their issues settled. However, as we all know, conflict can be exhausting. Moses is not just the intermediary with God for the people as a whole, but he is the one listening to their complaints against each other. So when the Israelites approach Mount Horeb, Moses' father-in-law, the father of Moses' wife Zipporah, and the priest of Midian, arrives at the encampment of the Israelites to offer Moses some advice. Now, as a reminder, Moses is at least 80 years old at this time, and if Jethro is his father-in-law, Jethro is likely over 100 years old. Jethro watches Moses spend the entire day judging the disputes of the people and teaching them about the statutes and instructions of God. Now, at this point in the story, the people have not received the 10 Commandments or the Torah yet. So Moses is the one who is managing the relationship between God and his people. And now we add to this tremendous responsibility the role of the sole judge for the people. Jethro tells Moses that this situation is not good for Moses or for the people. In Jethro's advice, I believe we can find a couple of good lessons for our lives as well. Before giving Moses advice, Jethro listens to what Moses is doing and why. In seminary, I was given a great piece of advice. It went like this: God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Take the hint. We need to listen carefully and actively before we give advice. Today, truly listening to others has become a lost art, but one that has never been more important. Second, Jethro evaluates the entire situation, not just what would benefit Moses. Look at verse 17 and 18. Moses' father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing is not good. You will surely wear yourself out, both you and these people with you. For the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone." Sometimes we believe we are sacrificing ourselves for the greater good, or for the good of others, when we are actually hurting both ourselves and those around us. Third, Jethro acknowledges what Moses is doing well, and shows that he understands Moses' responsibilities. Beginning in verse 19. Now listen to me. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You should represent the people before God, and you should bring their cases before God. Teach them the statutes and instructions, and make known to them the way they are to go and the things they are to do. Jethro is saying, what you are doing, Moses, is good. You are bringing the cases before God. You are putting God first. You are shaping a people for God. It is only then that Jethro gives his advice. Beginning in verse 21. You should also look for able men among all the people, men who fear God, are trustworthy, and hate dishonest gain. Set such men over them as officers over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Let them sit as judges for the people at all times. Let them bring every important case to you, but decide every minor case themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. Moses is to look for people with integrity, who are going to care about others before themselves. People whose integrity is unshakable. People that live above reproach. And people who can be trusted to make decisions that are not about their agenda or opinions, but about God's instructions. Not only will they be able to help Moses, but they will also be able to grow themselves. I once read a story about a horse pulling contest. The winning horse in the contest pulled 9,000 pounds. The runner-up pulled 8,000 pounds. Now together, you'd expect them to pull 17,000 pounds, but not so. When they teamed together, they pulled 30,000 pounds, nearly twice as much as expected. In short, we are better and stronger together. Turning now to the book of Acts. After the resurrection, Jesus spent 40 days with his disciples. He ate with them, taught them, and spent time with them. But after those 40 days had passed, it was time for him to return to the Father. So Jesus takes them to a hill outside of Jerusalem, to the Mount of Olives. You may recall our discussion about the importance of the Mount of Olives as the place of God's departure from Jerusalem and his return. Jesus takes them to this important, history-laden location as he prepares to leave them. Beginning in verse 9, it says, "When he had said this, as they were watching, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. While he was going, and they were gazing up toward heaven, suddenly 2 men in white robes stood by them." As you watch Jesus ascend into heaven and disappear from your sight, what do you do next? I wonder if it was a bit awkward in that moment. How long do you stand there, looking up at the sky? Which of the disciples spoke first? Who would break the silence? But suddenly, 2 men in white robes show up, and they have a message for the disciples who are staring up at the sky. They said, "Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking up toward heaven? This Jesus, who has been taken up from you into heaven, will come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven." Now there are 2 important points here. Let's start with the second message that they give to the disciples. Jesus is coming back. He is not gone forever. And what does that mean for the disciples and for us? Jesus gave us work to do. He gave us a mission to accomplish. In Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20, Jesus says, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always, to the end of the age." This is our continuing mission. Now, the first message of the angels is, why are you standing around? Since Jesus is coming back, and you have been given a mission to accomplish, what do you think he'll expect you to be doing? Well, the work he asked you to do. So what are you waiting for? And like those disciples standing on the Mount of Olives 2,000 years ago, we too have work to do. So, what are we waiting for? Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay on the trail.